Well, live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Gukesh becomes the world's youngest chess champ, beats China's Ding Liren in the 14th and final game of their title clash in Singapore. A Bangladesh court in Chittagong accepts a petition to expedite Indian religious figure Chinmoy Das's bail hearing. The G7 says it's ready to support political transition in Syria. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken reaches Jordan as part of his latest West Asia tour. And Time magazine names US President-elect Donald Trump Person of the Year for the second time after 2016. India's Grandmaster Gukesh has scripted history by becoming the youngest ever chess champion on Thursday. Gukesh defeated Ding Liren of China in the decisive game 14 of the World Chess Championship in Singapore to clinch the title. With the game heading towards another draw, defending champion Ding made a blunder to hand the Indian Grandmaster victory. 18-year-old Gukesh has become the youngest world champion, beating the record previously held by Garry Kasparov. He is also the second world champion from India after Viswanathan Anand, who won the title 4 times. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated chess grandmaster Gukesh for being crowned world chess champion. Prime Minister Modi posted on X, and I quote, "Historic and exemplary congratulations to Gukesh D on his remarkable accomplishment. This is the result of his unparalleled talent, hard work and unwavering determination. His triumph has not only etched his name in the annals of chess history, but has also inspired millions of young minds to dream big and pursue excellence. My best wishes for his future endeavors." Now, the Indian Space Research Organization, that is the Indian Space Agency ISRO, has successfully carried out a critical sea-level hot test of its CE-20 cryogenic engine at ISRO's propulsion complex in Tamil Nadu last month. The indigenous CE-20 cryogenic engine is powering the upper stage of the LVM-3 launch vehicle, also known as Stage 3 Space Launch Vehicle. This engine has successfully powered the upper stage of 6 LVM-3 missions till now, including Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 and the upcoming Gaganyaan mission. Speaking on the test, ISRO chairperson S. Somnath said that along with the CE-20 cryogenic engine test, ISRO has also demonstrated multi-element igniter that is required for engine restart capability. And we're taking you back to our top story, which is about a great feat by an Indian emerging great. He's already claimed the title of World Chess Champion, and the youngest at that, at the age of 18, Gukesh has become the World Chess Champion by beating reigning Chinese champion Ding Liren in Singapore, and that too he has done it at the 11th hour, because it was the final game, the 14th game, that was also slipping away in a manner of speaking. It was heading towards a draw when Liren made a blunder, quite an error, which Gukesh pounced upon and then seized the game as well. Congratulations have been pouring in. Prime Minister Modi of India has already congratulated him. President Draupadi Murmu has also congratulated him. And there are, of course, a lot of congratulatory messages pouring in as well. Even Viswanathan Anand, a former world champion himself, that is the second world champion that India has also congratulated and really praised Gukesh for this feat. My colleague Narayan joins us from the newsroom. For more on this, Narayan, tell us about the historic landmark win by Gukesh. How did it come about? Because I believe that perhaps it could have been a much longer wait for him to emerge champion had it not been for a mistake that Ding committed.
Definitely one of the big achievement, one of the monumental achievement, not only for the Gukesh but for the Indian chess fraternity also. And we can say that the way he played out throughout the tournament, he lost the first game of the World Chess Championship. After that, he bounced back, and the way he handled the player like Ding Liren, we know that what kind of player Ding Liren is, his unbeaten streak in the classical format, and we know that with the black pieces too, he has always done exceptional job. But the way Gukesh continuously just penetrated his defense, and in the yesterday's games also, in the penalty game too, Ding Liren was at the back foot, and throughout the 13th game also, Gukesh was dominating, but we can say that few mistakes, he couldn't capitalize the mistakes, the blunders done by the Ding Liren. But here, the way the things were going not in favor of the Gukesh too, because the match was heading towards the draw, and in the 55th move, a blunder was done by the Chinese player, and especially when he tried to just move his rook to the f2 position, it was a big blunder. And even Gukesh said that at this point of time in the game, he was not expecting this thing, and he would capitalize that. So at such a young age, we can say that handling such a big pressure and handling the players like Ding Liren, it shows that the talent and the hard work of the Gukesh. And the past also in the candidates too, where which is a 8-player tournament. In that tournament too, he defeated world's best player, and he emerged a winner there in the candidates and became a challenger. And it's a very tough road, it's a very tough journey. That it's not like a tournament you will directly be there in the World Chess Championship. You have to go through the candidates tournament, which is one of the toughest tournament in the world. Then you will become a challenger, and then you play a 14-round matches against the world champion, who is already a world champion, and you have to go there and just you have to dismantle him. So exactly he did that and never lost his cool and composure throughout the tournament, and this shows that how mentally strong Gukesh is. And this is a new era in the Indian chess, because after Viswanathan Anand, everybody was asking that who will be the next Anand for India. And in the recent past, the rise of the Indian young chess player, we saw whether it is Pragnananda, Arjun Ragassi, Vidit Gujarati, and now the way Gukesh did the things exceptionally, we can say that at the age of the 18, he became the 18th world champion. It's a historical, monumental, and definitely it has shifted the base of the world chess to India.
Certainly, and I believe that when Ding finally sort of resigned the game, Gukesh couldn't believe it, and he broke down as well.
Definitely, it's a, we can say, emotional moment for every player, and World Championship in the chess is one of the coveted event in the world chess arena. And we know that the way India was continuously searching for the next world champion, because we have seen the last time around too, the way the world championship panned out. It was between the Nepomniachtchi and the Ding Liren, and Ding Liren finally managed to win that tournament after the way Carlsen just gave away the title, and he said that he will not be there for the world championship. So there is a big void in the world of chess too. But with the emergence of the Gukesh as a we can say the superhero here for the Indian chess arena, it is a new era has been started for the Indian chess, and definitely it will also inspire the budding chess player and his teammates too. If you talk about the talent in the Indian chess, Arjun Ragassi, a fantastic prodigy in the chess too. Pragnananda, the way he won, he was there in the finals of the Chess World Cup and lost to the Carlsen there. So that is, we can say that India is not going to rule the chess world.
Certainly, and may that reign be a long one. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Narayan Singh. Excuse me. Now, let's get you updates from Bangladesh, where the Chattogram Metropolitan Sessions Court has accepted senior lawyer Rabindra Ghosh's petition to expedite Chinmay Krishnadas's bail hearing. The court has accepted the petition on a condition to have a lawyer from Chattogram to stand with Ghosh during the hearing. Ravindra Ghosh subsequently recruited local lawyer Sumit Acharya to stand with him. The move comes a day after the court dismissed an anticipatory bail application for Das, citing the absence of a power of attorney from a Chattogram Bar Association member. Now, day 2 of the Global Economic Policy Forum 2024, organized by the Confederation of Indian Industries, is underway in New Delhi. Addressing a session on integrating industrial, investment and trade policies, Chairperson 16th Finance Commission of India, Dr. Arvind Paragadia said, while protectionist tendencies are on the rise, growing economies like India have ample opportunities in global export markets.
Trade has continued to grow, and it is a very large market. Our share in this very large market is less than 2% for merchandise exports and less than 4% for services. So we are still really a very tiny part of it. So whether that trade in the future grows or not, given how large that market is and how small our share is, we have, just to give you an idea, China's share is about 12 to 13%. There's plenty for us to exploit in the global marketplace. So the global marketplace, in spite of the rising protectionism, industrial policy in the United States and Europe and whatnot, at the end of the day, is not going to be a constraint.
Now, addressing the session, Secretary Economic Relations MEA Damu Ravi said, in the context of weaponizing its economy, it is pertinent that India diversifies and develop its own supply chain for export-led economy.
How important it is for countries to ensure that the supply chains are diversified. Because the concentration of supply chains, and this is where it is, China is the factory of the world, and China holding that much of concentration of supply chains can also weaponize trade. And that's a big risk. Many countries have realized it, and the need for diversifying supply chains. Now, this has to be done very consciously. We are talking about today the resilient supply chains in that context. So each sector is able to develop its own supply chains from countries which you think are more friendly towards you.
Now, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on a trip to Jordan and Turkey, aiming to unite regional countries around a shared vision for Syria's future. This comes after the ousting of Syria's longtime authoritarian leader Bashar al-Assad. The top U.S. diplomat's trip focuses on supporting an inclusive Syrian-led transition to a government that is both accountable and representative. He will discuss the importance of preventing Syria from becoming a base for terrorism or posing a threat to neighboring countries, besides ensuring that a secure and safe destruction of chemical or biological weapon stockpiles also takes place. Secretary Blinken will also emphasize that displaced Syrians in the region will continue to need access to protection. Now, leaders of the group of 7 major democracies are ready to support a transition process that leads to credible and non-sectarian governance. The G7 said that a political transition after the end of the Bashar al-Assad 24-year authoritarian rule had to ensure respect for the rule of law, universal human rights including women's rights, the protection of all Syrians including religious and ethnic minorities, transparency and accountability. The G7 statement also reads that leaders will work with and fully support a future Syrian government that abides by those standards and results from that process. The leaders also called on all parties to preserve Syria's territorial integrity and national unity and respect its independence and sovereignty. And India evacuated 75 of its nationals from Syria 2 days after rebel forces overthrew President Bashar al-Assad's authoritarian government. India has earlier also successfully evacuated and executed multiple evacuation operations for its citizens in crisis zones. From Yemen to Ukraine, these missions have showcased India's diplomatic agility and dedication to its citizens' safety abroad.
India has demonstrated a strong commitment to the safety and well-being of its citizens abroad, particularly during times of geopolitical crises. Various operations in the past few years highlight the country's diplomatic agility and logistical capabilities in evacuating nationals from conflict zones. Let's look at some of the notable operations. 2011 Operation Homecoming. This operation evacuated 15,400 Indian nationals from Libya during its internal conflict. 2014 Kerala Nurses Rescue. The Indian government successfully brought back 46 nurses trapped in Iraq's Tikrit, ensuring their safe return from areas controlled by ISIS. 2015 Operation Rahat. Over 4,000 Indians and foreign nationals were evacuated from Yemen amid the civil war, facilitated by a call from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Saudi king. 2020 Operation Samudra Setu. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Indian Navy rescued around 4,000 Indians stranded at sea, covering over 23,000 kilometers. 2020 to 2022, Operation Vande Bharat Mission. This was one of the largest civilian evacuation efforts, facilitating the return of nearly 2.97 crore Indians from abroad during the pandemic. 2021 Operation Devi Shakti. Following the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, India rescued 669 individuals, including Indian nationals and members of the Afghan Hindu and Sikh minority community. 2022 Operation Ganga. Over 22,500 Indians were evacuated from Ukraine amid the conflict, with extensive airlift operations conducted. 2023 Operation Kaveri. In response to conflict in Sudan, this operation successfully evacuated over 3,000 Indians from various locations within the country.
These operations reflect India's proactive stance in ensuring the safety of its citizens in crisis situations, showcasing the effective coordination between various government agencies and diplomatic channels. With Calberson, Piyush, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Russia vows suitable response to Ukraine's attack with US-made ATACMS long-range missiles on Russian territory. And an extraordinary meeting of the IAEA Board of Governors is underway at the UN headquarters in Vienna, focusing on the situation in Ukraine.
जिंदगी की हर छोटी बड़ी जरूरत के लिए आप जो सपने सजाते हैं, बस उसी उम्मीद को तो हम सहारा लगाते हैं। SIP आपकी सेविंग्स को आपकी खातिर काम पर लगाएगी। आज ही अपनी पहली SIP की शुरुआत करें। अधिक जानकारी के लिए अपने वित्तीय सलाहकार से परामर्श करें। LIC म्यूचुअल फंड द्वारा निवेशक शिक्षा की एक पहल।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार के जोखिम के अधीन है। योजना से संबंधित सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, unrest in South Korea continues as opposition parties and few of the ruling People Power Party members have called the martial law decree that was carried out by the president unconstitutional. President Yoon has defended his act, saying that it was a step to maintain order in the country. Meanwhile, protests continue against the president as well. Here's a report on the latest developments in the country.
South Korea is facing a political turmoil since President Yoon Suk Yeol's botched martial law bid last week. The South Korean police on Thursday again conducted a raid on the presidential office to obtain documents and materials as part of a probe, a day after being blocked by the president's security guards. A week after a failed attempt, the president is to face an impeachment vote on Saturday. Defending the imposition of martial law, the president in a television speech vowed to fight for the people until the very last minute.
We must prevent the forces and criminal groups that have led the paralysis of government administration and disorder of national constitution from taking over the state administration and threatening the future of the Republic of Korea, no matter what. I will fight to the end.
The declaration has escalated tensions in the region and generated large protests, with about 50,000 protesters calling for Yoon's ouster. Hundreds of protesters clashed with police on Thursday as they attempted to break through the barricades and reach the embattled president's official residence in capital Seoul. Protesters managed to slip past hundreds of police and occupied a major road not far from Yoon's official residence, causing surrounding traffic to a grinding halt. But a defiant Yoon continues to blame the opposition for the crisis. Hours after Yoon's statement, South Korea's ruling party leader Han Dong-hoon urged its lawmakers to take a stand for Yoon's suspension.
The president should be immediately excluded from state administration, including the military leadership, as long it has been confirmed that the president has no intention of stepping down early. An immediate suspension of his duties is required.
Opposition parties on Thursday submitted a new bill to the parliament to impeach the president after his attempt to grant sweeping powers to the military failed last week. Amid the turmoil, the fate of the South Korean president remains uncertain. Bureau Report, DD India.
Time magazine has named US President-elect Donald Trump as its Person of the Year for 2024, marking the second time he has received the honor. Time magazine announced the decision on Thursday, celebrating Donald Trump's political comeback that the magazine described as unparalleled in American history. Last year, Time magazine's Person of the Year was Taylor Swift for her success in the field of arts. The Indian Maritime Heritage Conclave 2024 concluded on Thursday with a grand valedictory session that celebrated India's rich maritime legacy.
The valedictory ceremony of India Maritime Heritage Conclave 2024 was graced by distinguished guests including Sarbanand Sonowal, Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Pabitra Margareta, Minister of State for External Affairs, and SP Singh Baghel, Minister of State for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Sanjay Seth, Minister of State Defence. Their presence emphasized the significance of India's maritime history in shaping its global narrative.
The development of maritime tourism and the preservation of traditional navigation techniques that have connected our nation for centuries. This gathering marks a significant milestone in our journey to both preserve and celebrate India's ancient maritime legacy and chart a course towards a sustainable, innovative, and globally competitive future in the maritime sector.
Addressing the gathering, Sarbanand Sonowal highlighted the pivotal role of initiatives like the Sagarmala program and the upcoming National Maritime Museum at Lothal in preserving and promoting maritime heritage.
Our vision of a blue economy anchored in sustainability and innovation is well positioned to lead the way towards a prosperous and secure maritime future. Initiatives like the Sagarmala project stand as a testament to our commitment to revitalizing maritime infrastructure, boosting coastal economies, and enhancing trade connectivity.
Pabitra Margareta spoke on fostering international maritime cooperation, while SP Singh Baghel emphasized sustainable practices in fisheries and coastal development. The two-day conclave featured engaging discussions on topics like traditional shipbuilding techniques, the Chola dynasty's contribution to maritime history, and insights into India's naval evolution. As the conclave concluded, participants expressed their commitment to preserve and advance India's maritime heritage, ensuring its enduring relevance for generations to come. Kriti Vadira's report, DD India.
In a provocative move, Ukraine recently fired US-made ATACMS missiles in Russian territory. Now, this has garnered a response from Russia. Russia's defense ministry said that the attack will not go unanswered and appropriate response will be given. It's speculated that Russia could launch another hypersonic ballistic missile against Ukraine in the coming days. It's to be noted that Ukraine had struck a military airfield on the Azov Sea with 6 US-made ATACMS ballistic missiles on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Russian forces claim to have retaken control over the settlement of Novoivanovka in Kursk region on Thursday. Ukrainian forces seized a chunk of that territory in that region in a surprise incursion on the 6th of August. India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platforms. Waves provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you want great content for free, then download Waves today. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.